Hello, good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. For those of you who have never caught me live before, my name is Jewel, and I am a grateful recovering addict. I will celebrate 9 years clean in August of this year. Gonna go live with my brother-in-law Joe as soon as he gets on. We're gonna read the gist for today as we understand. Just tell him I'm on. As you come in, say hello. There he is. It's humid today, guys. Hey, Joe.
What's up? What up? What up?
It's hot. Boy, it's hot. It's so hot, I brought a sweat rag. It doesn't help that I just finished cleaning either. Do you want to share these out?
Yeah, I already did.
Okay. Hey, Pamela. Well, I'll go ahead and get started. What?
Y'all complain about this heat, man. I've been in Texas. It's been like in the 90s for 3 weeks.
Yeah, but you chose to go to the heat.
I'm just saying.
I think the problem is that it might not be so, but I mean, I literally just finished like sweeping, mopping, all that fun stuff. So that's probably why I'm so hot. Hey,
I'm
Jennifer.
about to work. I'm about to work out with this sweatshirt on.
Yeah, your
And
brother's blue.
my gym has no AC.
I heard you better watch out. You're gonna have heat exhaustion. Be like Russell was yesterday, man.
Fuck it. If I die, I die. I'll be all right.
He's better today. Much, much better. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna read the gist for today, May 28th. As we understand, we examined our lives and discovered who we really are. To be truly humble is to accept and honestly try to be ourselves. Basic text, page 36. As using addicts, the demands of our disease determined our personality. We could be whoever or whatever we need to be in order to get our fix. We were survival machines, adapting easily to every circumstance of the using life. Once we began our recovery, we entered a new and different life. Many of us had no idea what behavior was appropriate for us in any given situation. Some of us didn't know how to talk to people, how to dress, or how to behave in public. We couldn't be ourselves because we didn't know who we were anymore. The 12 steps give us a simple method for finding out who we really are. We uncover our assets and our defects, the things we like about ourselves, and the things we're not so thrilled about. Through the healing power of the 12 steps, we begin to understand that we are individuals created to be who we are by the higher power of our understanding. The real healing begins when we understand that if our higher power created us this way, it must be okay to be who we really are. Just for today, by working the steps, I can experience the freedom to be myself, the person my higher power intended me to be, which was clearly not a reader for the mass public. Hey, Katie. Hey, ladies.
Okay, so what's
The punchline
yeah.
is just for today, by working the steps, I can experience the freedom to be myself, the person my higher power intended me to be.
Right. So the book's really beating a dead horse because we've been kind of talking about this for like the past week and a half. Um, Anybody that doesn't know, you can type in my name in the Clean and Sober group if you're in that group, and my videos will pop up, and you can watch like the last couple that I've done, and you will see that we've kind of been talking about this for quite some time. Um,
You can also find them on
and
our YouTube channel. I'm going to drop the link for it.
yeah, you can go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. There's a lot of videos on there. Um, we have tons of content. We got like a year's worth of content. So if you're ever struggling, they're all labeled. If you want to look for a certain topic that you have questions about, go click on it and watch it on YouTube. And also, like we always say, feel free to contact us, request us on our personal pages, message us if you need to.
Yeah.
We are open to all lines of communication. We will try to help you any way we can, as long as it's not involved in cash apping you any money. And that's that. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and start on the topic. I always talk about, and we always talk about, make sure when you get clean and you get sober, that once you get comfortable, you get through your first like 30 to 90 days, make sure you start working on you, and make sure you're being aware after, and to do the steps is probably a good idea, because this will help you. But make sure that you're being aware that you're not bringing those same type of behaviors and those same type of personalities into your recovery life, because it's easy for us to just get clean and sober, but it's not easy for us to change. And in my opinion, I always think the easiest part is putting the bottle down, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
To me, the hardest part is actually doing that self-work, because getting clean and getting sober is just as black and white as it is. You stop using or you stop drinking. Okay, we can do that. Anybody can do that.
Right.
But not everybody can actually start to work on themselves and start to change who they are and understand, like, this deceitful type of person that I was. I realize I'm still kind of being that way. The manipulator that I used to be, I'm still kind of being the same type of manipulator. The drama king or drama queen that I used to be, I'm still kind of being that person. The scheming scammer, I'm still trying to, I'm still battling with being that person. So you have to make sure that when you get clean and sober, that you're leaving those traits behind you. And it's not easy to do. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of, self-awareness, and it takes a lot of patience, because you got to be patient. You're not going to change everything overnight. It's not going to happen. It's a long process. Me personally, a couple of the traits that I had from my addiction was, I was controlling, I was angry, I was aggressive, I could be an asshole most of the time. And when I got sober, those are the things that I started to try to chip away at. Those are the things that I started to try to be aware of and try to change. And I don't know, I think like the last one is like, probably just easily. I try to work on that. I have to be conscious of every day, that I have to really stay on top of. And it's just as simple as just take a step back sometimes, analyze some of your situations and analyze some of the things that you've done in the past couple of days, and try to pinpoint, like, okay, what does this say about me, or what did I do in this situation that I could have done differently, or am I here for me? Am I walking in recovery for myself, or am I worried about what other people are doing? So just keep it in mind. Go ahead, Jewel.
I wanted to say, Jennifer, Joe's my brother-in-law. That's how we know each other. We actually met 9 years ago at our treatment center we went to. So that's how we know each other.
Yep.
So let me read the punchline again. Just for today, by working the steps, I can experience the freedom to be myself, the person my higher power intended me to be. So last night, hey Shira, thank you. Last night, my sister-in-law launched her social media impact and influence workshop that she does. It's really awesome. And if anybody wants more information, you can just ask me later. But I really needed the orientation we had last night. Last week was a really bad week for me, like all week. Like I literally was just in my own way all week. And so listening to her last night was like, a spiritual awakening of sorts, like an aha moment. Like I've just literally been in my own way. I haven't been able to be the person I'm supposed to be. I haven't been able to be who my higher power intended me to be. We did a couple videos last week, but even those, I really wasn't like, I was there and I was present, but I wasn't fully present. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making any sense. Um, so it was just, I don't know, I'm off topic, I guess. I'm trying to get back to where I need to be. So you guys just kind of have to bear with me. Um, so,
Well, it's easy. It's easy. Like I get like that too, and it's easy to get stale sometimes. Where
right. And I've like literally was just stuck. Like I wasn't moving forward, but I wasn't moving backwards. But I wasn't, like I told her last night, I was like, even like the good moments that I could have used those moments to fuel the energy to move forward, I didn't do it because something else come up and I was like, oh, this, like, I don't know how many times I said last week how annoyed I was. Like through Monday, even until like yesterday, I just, every little thing I have allowed to overtake me. You know what I mean? I've just allowed the negativity or the little things that weren't even, a huge deal just overtake me. And I have decided last night that I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm really excited. I really needed this workshop. So I'm like super excited that she's kicked it off last night. So it's really helped me, like, because we do, most of Joe and I do this, we do these live videos quite often. And then we have the recovery awareness events that we do. And then Joe has a fitness business that he does. And then I have a virtual assistant business that I do. And everything last week was stuck. Like everything last week was just me moving through the motions, not actually showing up, not actually being who I'm supposed to be, not actually being who I'm intended to be in this life. And so I really needed the orientation last night to really help me see that. So I'm really excited to see how these next 21 days go. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot of me. So get ready for that. Yeah.
yeah, and like I said, it's easy to get stale, and it's easy to just get annoyed with life because you feel like it happens to me all the time. It's just like you feel like I feel like I'm just walking in place. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it just you'll have periods in your life where you're like skyrocketing and you're feeling good and you're riding the wave, but then sometimes eventually the wave comes down and
Right.
it's like how do you react once you hit the ground? You know, how do you react once you're kind of just standing there and your high is over and your peak time is over and it's like, okay, now what do I do? And it's like, well, you just got to do it again. You got to go climb again. You got to come up with something new. You got to do something different or go back to what worked before when you were on the wave and you were riding high and everything was going good.
Well,
And
she talked about like recentering and like going back to your original why, like, why, what is the purpose of this? Why am I doing this? So I think today, when we're finished, I have some other stuff to do, but I think I'm gonna make like a little list to kind of help remind myself, and write my affirmations and things down because I really I need things to change and I want things to change and we got some good news today. Did your brother tell you? Joe?
no, he didn't do anything about it.
Okay, well, I'll let him tell you. But we got some somewhat good news today. So it was so crazy to me when he texted me because I was like, "Ah, all this is happening because I decided last night to shift. I decided last night that I was no longer going to be stuck. So I'm really
And
excited.
not to get personal, but um, we all four went through a little boxing match the past couple days,
Yeah.
and I sent Josh a message after I talked to him on the phone, and I told him I said, you know, let's not focus on the problems, but let's focus on the fact that we can come together and we're being aggressive in trying to solve the issue, and we're not just saying, "Oh, fuck you," and just ignoring each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
And
that's
I told him,
easy. Because we've done that before. I don't remember.
yeah, right.
I don't remember what it was, but a few years ago, and I can't remember if I was pregnant with Russell or if I had just had Russell. But you and him like got into an actual fight at Bobby's house, and we didn't talk for none of us. I don't know how many months. I don't know that it was months, maybe like a month or two, but and I remember thinking like there's no way we're going through this again. And I also this entire weekend have been like Mama Wendy is up there literally shaking her head at us, probably mad as fuck right now, wishing she could be here kicking all of our asses. Because when like I think about this even when Josh and I fight, there's no time to be mad at you. There's no time to be mad at him. Like something could literally take him away tomorrow, and I don't want to spend any time being mad at anybody. You know what I mean? I don't want to waste my time and my energy in that. And there was an issue that needed to be resolved, and I feel like it is resolved. I hope it's resolved. I feel better on my end. I hope you guys feel better on your end. It's gonna make me fucking cry, Joe. Jesus. I'm gonna need you to start talking.
Well, I didn't want to cut you off. Um, nah, but yeah, like I said, I talked to Josh for like an hour, and then I kind of told him like I sent him a message later, and I told him like, you know, this is the risk you run when you mix business and family. And I told him I was like, but we're not letting it separate us like it does most people. We're trying to fix the issue because that's all it is. It's just an issue.
Right.
Sometimes you have to take your personal shit out of an issue and work on it as it's just problem solving. It's nothing else. And if there's an issue with you that you brought into the situation, then you have to step out of the situation, correct that issue, re-enter yourself back into the situation, and then everything else moves forward. And I told him, I was like, you know, it's not like we're busting our ass to try to resolve the issue right away because we don't want it to just go on and on and on and nothing gets done and it's a new problem later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's exactly what I said earlier in the video. We've been riding that wave.
Right.
Because I feel like for the past like 2 years, maybe 3, life's been amazing.
Yeah.
Especially the last 2 years. I mean, once I got sober, I feel like everything else just started to fall into place. And then Mom got clean and everything else got even better. And then, you know, your business took off, Shower's business took off. Me and Josh were getting close together doing the gym thing. And it's like we've been riding the wave and we hit the ground and we worked on the issue. And now we're going to head back to the top where we were. It's that simple. It's not, and it's just like, you know, it's like we said, you got to catch yourself because sometimes those character defects resurface.
Right.
I look at it like alcohol and drug abuse. And I look at it I tell people all the time, you know, the shit that we talk about in recovery is not just for addicts and alcoholics. The same shit can help regular people who don't have that problem because it teaches self-worth.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who aren't drug addicts, who aren't alcoholics, who are completely delusional to who they really are and completely just do not see themselves. They do not see the shit that they do or the bullshit that gets in the way of their life. So it's not just this stuff that we do it's not just going to benefit addicts and alcoholics. It can benefit everybody.
Right.
If you just ignore the getting clean and sober part, all this is just teaching you how to live a better life. That's all it is. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, that's why if you've ever heard the term dry drunk is basically somebody who was an alcoholic who got sober, but they're still the same asshole.
Right.
Because they never worked on themselves. They just go to the meetings, and they're still fucking miserable because they never worked on them.
Right.
They just thought that the only problem they had was they drank and did drugs, but you created a whole new persona from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
not saying that you became fake or you became not yourself, but
But
you
what do
brought
you
in a lot of
do?
extra shit. Yeah, you brought in a lot of extra shit. Like, you're always going to be you at the core, but there's a lot of traits that you picked up on along the way that aren't serving you, that you might have not ever picked up if you wouldn't have used drugs or drank. You know, it's like I would have never done a lot of the shit that I did. You know,
Yeah.
um, I've been sober, with an exception to one relapse. I've been sober for almost 2 years. So actually now it's been past 2 years with one relapse in between. Um, and within that 2 year time frame, I've never been in a fist fight with my brother. I've never called my wife a stupid bitch, and I've never stayed out all night and never came home. You know, I've never stole from anybody or done anything crazy. I've never, you know, I haven't went out looking for fights and looking for shit to get into. So like all that shit that I had with me before, I don't have it in my life anymore, and because of that, my life is so much better. Um, I haven't been arrested. I haven't went to jail. So just try to take a step back and look at the evidence when you start to get discouraged and you start to feel like, why the fuck did I ever get sober? Why did I get clean? My life still sucks. Just look back at some of the shit that you went through in your addiction, because like I said, um, the the pain and the heartache and the hardship is never as bad once you're out of it.
Right.
So it's easy for you to look back and say, man, that shit wasn't even that bad. But it was.
Yeah.
You know, when it happened at the time, you were probably in wreck. You were probably in shambles. You were probably a complete mess. But now that it's so far past you, it's easy to start forgetting. And you just have to make. That's why people say, you'll see like old heads and people who got long term recovery. They're like, you know, never forget. You know, never forget why you're here, and um, never stop working.
Yeah. I have a funny story. My brother texted me the other day because he's applied for this job, and I'm not too certain which one it is. It's Tom that I'm talking about. I'm not too certain what the job is. It's something to do with like the boatyard kind of stuff that he was doing before. Boatyard probably isn't the correct word, but shipyard. But it's for like the government or something like that. And he messaged me over the weekend and asked me where I was born and what my middle name was. And that may be silly to some of you, but I didn't meet him until 2013. So he's never really known me until these last 6 years. But, anyways, so he messaged me that and he asked me what my address was. And I forget what else he asked me. And I was like, bro, if they're going to do a background check on me, you ain't getting this job. um, and he was just kind of like, well, my first reaction was, you should have left me out. Because who would know? We don't have the same last name. You know what I mean? They'd have to really dig deep to find out because it's not like it's on my birth certificate who my real father is. And the DNA test that we did was one that we bought at the store and then mailed in. So it's not like it's in like a court system or anything like that. But anyways, um, he was just kind of like, well, it shouldn't matter what you did. But it was really funny to me because I'm like thinking to myself, like, if they're gonna do a background check on me for him for this job, like it might really affect him. You know, it might really mess his chance up at this job. I'm hoping that it doesn't. I'm thankful that I was able to expunge a lot of the stuff on my record. But there's one case that I couldn't, and that's the case that makes me nervous for him because it's not pretty, it's very ugly. But it's not who I am. You know what I mean? It's not, even in the situation, it wasn't who I was. It was more of a guilty by association thing. Um, but it was just something that happened this weekend that just kind of brought a little humor to my life. So let me see. Shannon, thanks for watching. Katie, thanks for watching. I saw your sister was on here earlier too. I don't know if she's still watching. Kelly says life test is to see how we react to things and believe, stay focused on what helps you build you and stay positive. Yes, very true. So anything else to say, Joe?
No, not really. Anybody wondering um, if they haven't picked it up yet? My thing is alcohol. I've struggled with it since I was like 15. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was a drug addict. My grandfather was an alcoholic. His brother was an alcoholic. My grandmother was an alcoholic. Um, and you can go all across the family tree and find the same thing. So um, that's something else you have to do too. Like there was a time in my life where, I was depressed, and it was before I ever even started drinking actually. And it was just like I finally had this like moment. I guess it was like an awakening, and I was just like, I'm depressed because I'm upset about things that I felt like I was out of control of, and I felt like, things that just happened to me that I didn't have any say in. And I made a deal with myself. It might sound stupid, but I told myself, whatever happens to you is on you. You're in control of your life. You make the choices that impact your life the most.
Yeah.
Now, flash forward a couple years, I started drinking to have fun, and it didn't end in fun. But I took accountability for that. I didn't blame it on the fact that the majority of my family were drug addicts and alcoholics. I didn't blame it on my mom. I didn't blame it on my dad. I blamed it on me because I made the first choice. I made the first choice to drink.
Right.
Knowing that, and I was fully aware, knowing that it affected my family. Mm-hmm. And I thought that it wasn't going to happen to me. And I had positive reinforcement that it wasn't going to happen to me because for the first year or two, I started drinking when I was 15, and it didn't really catch me until I was about 18 or 19, where I started getting in trouble and shit started going crazy for me personally. And I realized, like, I fucked up. I should have listened to my elders when they said, you can't drink. I should have listened, but I didn't. And I made the bad choice, and I paid for it. So
I just wanted to add, I feel like we all have to make our own mistakes, you know what I mean? Like I took DARE class in school. I knew that drugs were bad for me. I knew what could happen to me, even though when I started my addiction, I was literally telling myself and everybody else, I can quit at any time. I'm not addicted. I do this because I want to. You know what I mean? And I get really mad when people blame their addiction, or not necessarily their addiction, but like, for instance, if I looked at your mother and I said, you should have been a better mother to him, he wouldn't have gone down this road. I hate when people say that because that's not true. My mother's not an alcoholic. My mother's not an addict. My grandmother's not an alcoholic or an addict. My grandfather isn't. My dad isn't. My real dad is not. I think alcoholism may run somewhere in his side of the family, but I never knew them, so that wouldn't affect me, I get really angry because it's nothing that the parents do. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, there was this weekend we went to the beach and Ashley was there and one of her friends was there, and she was talking to me, and a couple years ago, she lost her child, her 9-month-old daughter. She had laid her down for a nap and she had went down in the basement to do some work. That's really all I know of the story. She wasn't, when she come back up, I guess she wasn't breathing or whatever the case was. And the girl said to me that she had about 8 days sober, and she's found God, which is her way of getting herself together. And it's, she was quoting all these Bible verses, and I was like, phew, this girl's like really into religion. And I had to remind myself, like, that's okay because that's what works for her. You know what I mean? That wasn't necessarily what worked for me, but that's what's working for her in this moment, and that's what she needs. And it was like really eye-opening to just kind of listen to her story a little bit. And, it's one of those things where we're put around people, or the people that need us, or the people that we need show up in our life in ways that we may never know. You know what I mean? It was random that we decided to go to the beach. It was random that Ashley was already there because I had texted her and was like, hey, we're going to the beach if you want to meet up. I didn't know that her friend was there. I had never met this woman before. Honestly, I can't even tell you her name because I don't remember. But I think that the few minutes that she had with me kind of helped inspired her. And Ashley said she was going to send her to us on Facebook so she could start watching our videos and stuff. Um, but it was a very eye-opening experience for me, and it was one of those things that, you know, it's like my tangent that I started was that I hate when other people blame the addict or the alcoholic's parents because it's not their fault. Just like her with her alcoholism, it wasn't her mother's fault. She went through a traumatic experience. Something, anybody that's a parent, it's something that they never, ever, ever want to experience in their life. I don't even know how she functions because I don't know that I could be that strong.
Right.
So, like, just when you meet people and you listen to their stories, it because I'm a mother, I think it makes me over emotional. But listening to her story, and then I had a website client who texted me Sunday and said that her son was in the ICU. And I was like, please don't worry about me. Like, get him healthy and get him home. And then she texted me yesterday and said that he passed away. And it fucked me up. I don't know. I've never met her personally. I met her obviously through Nishaira, because she's buying the vendor. But it really, like, I laid in bed and cried yesterday morning because I hurt so bad for her. I don't have any idea what the situation was. I don't know if he was in a car accident, whether it was his fault or somebody else's fault. I have no idea what the details to it are, but it was just one of those things that, like, I didn't want to fight anymore. You know what I mean? I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to battle. I think it kind of helped open my eyes more to the situation that happened with the four of us. And it was just, I guess, a spiritual awakening / humble moment for me. So thanks for letting me share.
And it's like, you know, I look at addiction like, you know, like I said, I don't like the debate topics, you know,
Right.
disease or choice or all that bullshit.
Mm.
But it always starts off as a choice, no matter how you look at it. And like Jules said, she has no addicts in her family, no alcoholics in her family, but she became an addict.
Right.
My cousin, he came from a great upbringing. You know, his parents were really strict Christians. They didn't expose their kids to no bullshit. I feel like they were really good parents. And they grew up in the churches. And when he got free, when he got out of the house, he became a drug addict and an alcoholic.
Right.
You know, so it's like, and then there's me. You know, I was subject to it a lot, and I became an alcoholic. My brother, he was subject to the same life that I was, and he didn't become an alcoholic. He didn't become a drug addict. So it's like we all have choices. You know what I mean? We all make choices. And it's just like my grandfather's household. He was a full-blown everyday drinker, and he spent his life that way for about 20 years. My dad became an alcoholic out of it. Um, his sister, my dad's sister, she can socially drink and put it down whenever she wants. She barely drinks, maybe a couple times a year. And then his brother is the one that I'm talking about that's real into the church. He's never been drunk or high a day in his life. So it's like, you can just, I mean, we all have to make decisions. That's why I said when I had that talk with myself where I said, it's my life, it's my choice, it's my responsibility about how I choose to live it.
Right.
And that's something we gotta do, because here's the thing. And anybody that's wondering why, there's always a reason and why. And the reason why I try to lean away from the disease factor is simply because I feel like it gives you a chance to be dismissive of what you're doing.
Right.
It allows you to have a excuse where when I hear the word disease, I hear something that you have no place in, you have no choice in. You know, the little boy who has leukemia, he has a disease, but he didn't do anything to make that happen to him.
Right.
He didn't do anything to choose to have leukemia. We chose to use drugs and drink alcohol.
Right.
So, and by saying that, I'm all about empowering people. And to say that I made the choice, it gives you all the power. It lays the ball right in your court.
Right.
And it makes it where it's all up to you to get clean or sober. And that's why. So anybody that's like wondering why, I say that it's because I want to empower you.
That's good,
I
because
want you
I never thought of it that way.
I want you to take accountability for your life. I want you to say that I'm in control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I say that. So I don't say that to debate, and I don't want to debate, and I don't say it to dismiss any type of research. I just say it because I want you to be empowered. And if you say that I have the choice and it's up to me to make the choice, you empower yourself and you give yourself a better chance of beating your quote unquote disease, because you have a choice.
Right.
Like, when I relapsed like 4 or 5 months ago, I chose to pull in the shortstop.
Right.
I chose to buy the shit. I chose to put it in my passenger seat. I chose to drive home with it. I chose to walk up the steps with it. I chose to put it in the fridge, and I chose to open the first one, and I chose to put it to my lips. There was a lot of choices in that event, in that scenario, that I had many opportunities to make a different choice, and I didn't. It's that simple.
You could have chose to turn off of Route 50 and come here, which is
That's what I'm saying.
what I wanted
There's
you
a
to do.
there's a million choices that you can make.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as relapsing or using drugs or alcohol. It's not really a quick decision, because it takes time to get your drugs. It takes time to buy your alcohol.
Right.
It takes time to set up. It takes time to use. It takes time to drink. All this shit takes time, and you have so many opportunities to make a different choice.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, when you start drinking or start using drugs, it starts off as something to do. It starts off as a party. It starts off as having fun. Then it becomes an addiction. And then for us, it becomes an obsession.
Right.
So when you get clean and sober, you got to find other things to obsess about. Positive things. Your body, your health, your well-being, your spiritual growth, your mental growth, your relationships, your family, your friends, your kids, all that. Your job, your career, your finances. There's plenty of things for you to do. Getting other people clean, getting other people sober. You have so many fucking things that you could be doing with your life other than using drugs and drinking alcohol. Such a waste. You're wasting your potential, you're wasting your life, and you're hurting everybody around you that cares about you.
I think that's a good note to end on, Joe.
I agree. I got stuff to do.
When do you want to go live next? Do you have a plan, or do you want to just let me know later what your schedule for the week is?
Not really. I don't think I have much going on.
Okay.
We can take a break for tomorrow and get back on. What's today? Tuesday?
Yeah.
So let's go Wednesday. Wednesday.
Yep, that's tomorrow. Okay.
We'll go tomorrow, and then we'll take a break.
Okay. So anybody that is interested, or if you're local, even if you're not local, a couple things just to remind you of. August 3rd, we're going to have Breaking the Chains. It will be in Chestertown, Maryland. I'm really excited. Joe, I don't know. Have you ever heard Jen Edwards' story? You know Jen Edwards.
I don't think so. I don't think I know her.
You probably do. She lost a daughter 12 years ago to a drunk driver in town. She lost her daughter and her fiance, Brian. I don't know what his last name was. I'll send you the link so you can listen to it. Joe and I are both going to speak at the event, and then Jen is going to share about 15 minutes of her side of the story. Her side is a little different because she's not an addict or an alcoholic herself, but her life was impacted hugely by someone with alcoholism. And then also, I have someone else I'm hoping that will speak that day. I haven't gotten a yes or no yet, but fingers crossed they're going to speak as well. And then also anybody that's interested, we have t-shirts that we're selling that say Breaking the Chains on the front. And then on the back they say in loving memory of Wendy Hewitt. You can have the name changed, or you can scratch the whole back if you just want Breaking the Chains on the front, that's fine. I'm gonna start taking money for those the 1st of June, which is, I don't know if it's Friday or Saturday, but it's one day this week.
Yeah, what's up with the t-shirts, yo? What's the hold up?
There's
Do
no
you
hold
like?
up.
All right, I was just making sure people was getting them because I didn't know how it worked.
I haven't taken any money for any of them. The only one that's paid so far is Megan. She paid for Aunt Sue's shirt. What I wanted to do was I wanted to get pre-orders for 50 shirts and then place an order, because I didn't want to place an order and then 2 weeks later place another order, and then, you know what I'm saying? Um,
Right.
so starting June 1st, I'm going to accept money for them. I'm going to leave it open for about 7 days, I think. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my first order because I want everybody to get their shirts. If you're not local, we can ship them. I'll have to add a couple dollars for shipping. But aside from that, anybody can get shirts anywhere. And all the profits from the t-shirts are going to Midshore Restoring Hope and Women, which is the local nonprofit that we're serving this year. So that's that. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I put all of our pages and groups in the details of this video. Breaking the Chains, Marching to Recovery, and Midshore Restoring Hope and Women. You can join our community support group, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think that covers all the shameless plugs.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.